Okay, so now the fun stuff begins. We actually have created our factory and cell setup with a robotic arm and a cube. And now we're going to actually program the robotic arm in the software called RoboCell. So here it's giving you an overview of what we're about to do to pick up a cube, lift it in the air, move it straight back toward the base, set it back on the table, release the cube, and return home. Now, anytime we pick up something with a robotic arm and put it somewhere else, that's called the pick and place routine. It's a very common move in robotics. So they're explaining you what the positions are here. It's better just to look at the diagram. So we have to define each position that we're going to move the robotic arm to. When you first go into the program, we want to start out by recording the original position of the robotic arm as position 99. And then we're going to go in and record position 1 where the cube will start, position 2 where the cube will end, and then there's a position directly above point 1 and 2 that we're going to name 11 and 12. And this is the idea behind robotics, movement of robotic arms. You always try to approach an object from directly overhead. That way you avoid hitting any other instruments or obstructions on either side of the object. So we always program a point directly above what we're going to pick up and place just to make a smoother, more safe move of the robot. So again, if you look at it from the side view, you're going to pick it up from 1, you're going to raise it up straight up to 11, take it back to position 12, and then lower it to position 2, and then let go of it. So this down here explains what you need to do step by step in RoboCell. So we're going to go do that. We're going to open RoboCell. We're going to change the menu option to Pro, even though, of course, you're not a Pro yet. We need certain access to menus in there that will give us in Pro. We're going to import the factory file that we created in Cell Setup. So that's the graphics file. We're going to add some remark statements just for clerical, just to put the name of the program, your name, period, and date. Just always a good practice to do in case you go back and modify it later. Then we're going to switch from joints to XYZ mode so we can program in the XYZ coordinate system. We're going to record the 5 positions that we just looked at, and then we're going to write the program and see if it works. Okay, so let's go to RoboCell. It's going to start out looking like this. When you do a file, new project, you're going to end up with a screen like this. No factory in here yet. So we're going to have to actually import the factory. So we're going to have to go to File, Import 3D Model. Now you have to pay attention when you save the factory as to where this file is located. It's actually located under Windows, IntelliTech, RoboCell, Projects, ER4U. Now that's kind of bulky to get to that location, but it works a lot better in the RoboCell if it knows you're going to that menu to pick up your factory. You could save your factory in documents. You would just have to make sure to select that and hope the RoboCell don't get confused at some point, right? So once you know the pathway to it, you can go back to that same menu. And if you saved your factory under a certain name, I saved my factory as factory A21. So I'm going to, on today's date, so I'm going to pick that. I'm going to click on open, and it's going to put that factory, just kind of drop it in here that we created earlier with the table and the cube. If we come up here to Windows, Simulation, and Teach, it'll kind of put everything in proper order. I'm going to make the actual simulation a little bit smaller because what I want to see, down here below, we have the commands that you're going to be using is provided for you. So I want a little bit more room to see the commands. And the way we can, right now, we're limited on commands because we're in the L1 mode, Learner 1. We're going to click on Pro, as they suggested. And that's going to expand what we have here under commands on the second tab. So if we click on commands, we now have all of these commands under a category, access control. Notice OG represents open gripper and so forth. GP is go to position. We have down here program flow, which is a wait command, and there's your remark command. We're going to be using RE. So most of these commands are 2 letters, and then inputs and outputs. So these are the commands you're going to use to program over here in the program screen. It did say to change our movement as we manually move the robot to XYZ, which gives us very clearly XYZ, the top row being up or positive, and the bottom row being down or negative, right? The speed is defaulted to 50%, which we'll use anytime we're lifting and moving an object, but we can go to 100% when we have no object in the gripper. So if you recall back over here, it said in what we had to do was to put some remarks and then start recording the positions, right? So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to come over here and we're going to start out in line 1 of the program. We're just going to type in RE. And if you recall down here, RE represents remarks. So if I type in RE, over here, let's make sure I'm in the program. There we go, RE. It's going to pop up a little window and you can type your text in. So this is like activity 3.1.2a. And you can do more if you need to. And you can continue those remarks, like you can put another remark for your name, date, and period, right? Now, anytime we start this program, before we go anywhere, we want to come down here where it says under Teach Position Simple. We actually can expand this later, and we can actually put in XYZ coordinates, and that's called teaching the positions. Right now, we're going to just keep it simple, and we're going to just record the position. We're going to move the robot into that position and record it. So I'm going to give my home position the number 99, and I'm going to click on the little blue icon that says record position. So now I have 99 recorded from the very start here. Now, in order to get position 1, we're going to actually go down and have the robot grab the cube. It's a real easy way to do that. There's a command that allows us to do that. But we need to, first of all, open our gripper, because if we try to pick up the object with the gripper closed, it's going to just impact it, right? So down here in the manual movement, you're going to click on Open Gripper. Notice in the actual simulation, it opened the gripper. And then we have a command that says right here, it says Send Robot to Object. And then the little arrow, I'm going to point to the cube, and it actually sends the robot to that cube without you having to manually do it. Now, while we're in that position, I'm going to teach that position as position 1, because that's where we're going to pick it up from. And I'm going to click on Record. So now you'll notice I have position 1 and 99 recorded, right? Now I'm going to manually move the robotic arm straight up. So I'm going to go in the Z direction. I'm going to go up just a little bit. Okay. And again, we don't necessarily have to pick up the cube at this point. I'm just recording positions, right? So we're going to move to this position. And remember, this is the position directly above position 1. So I'm going to call this position 11. And you'll find this numbering system very helpful in some of the more complex programming you'll do later as we go through different levels of height, right? So we're going to record that one as position 11. And you can always record back over these positions if you mess up. Then I'm going to go into the X direction. I'm going to come in toward the machine here a little bit. Not too far. I don't want it to hit something and impact. I'm going to move in toward the base, and I'm going to record this as position 12, which will be the position directly above where we're going to set the block. Okay, and then I'm going to go down to the table. Now, what's going to happen as I move down to the table in the Z direction is going to impact the table. It's going to say, okay. So what we need to do is we need to move back up just a little bit in Z, maybe 2 or 3 taps of the mouse, get a little bit off the table so that it don't impact the table with the gripper. And then we're going to record this as position 2. So now you'll notice I have all of my positions recorded, 1, 11, 12, 2, and 99, as we saw back over here in the view here, that we have these 5 positions actually recorded, right? So now we can begin our programming. Now, in order to reset the workspace in the factory, you can click on this first button and reset the work cell. So now everything's back to where we were when we went in. And so the first step in programming is going to be to open the gripper. And if you look in commands, open gripper is OG. It jumps in there. Now, most of your movement is going to be go position or go linear. And actually, you can use or go circular. You can actually use GP for all of them because it'll allow you to change it while you're in there. So I usually just use GP for go to position. So we've opened the gripper, and what do we want to do? We want to go to position 1 so we can actually grab the cube, right? So we're going to do GP, and it's going to ask you here, first of all, where do you want to go? We want to go to position 1. And then you can do it jointly, which kind of is a combination linear circular. It chooses the best path. That's normally what we would do unless we need to be precise. And since I don't have anything in the gripper right now and I'm not headed toward any object, I'm going to go fast mode just to speed things up. And I'm going to click OK. So what this is going to do, it's going to move to position 1 very quickly. No, I'm sorry, not position 1. We need to go to position 11. So we need to go back up here and edit this one. I need to go to position 11 because what I need to do is I need to go to the position just above the cube, not to the cube itself, right? So let's change that. So that's how easy you can change it. Then in the next row here, now we want to go to position, my gripper is already open. We want to go to position 1, right? So GP, I'm going to go to position 1. I want to go linear because I just want to go straight down. I don't want to do any wacky stuff with the movement. And I'm going to keep it at 50% because I'm approaching an object now. All right, and that's gonna put me around the cube. And then I want to close my gripper to squeeze the cube. I want to go back again to the position directly above that cube. So that's going to be position 11. I want to go back to the top of 11, and I want to go linear and 50% because I'm toting something now. All right. And then now that I'm at position 11, I want to go to position 12, which is the above where I'm going to drop it. And we can keep it joint on that one. We don't have to be straight, but I'm going to keep it at 50%. And then I need to go to position 2. This is where we're going to let go of it. And I'm going to do linear on that one because I'm going straight down. And I'm going to keep it at 50%. And then I need, now that I have the cube in the new position, I need to open gripper, which is OG. Let go of the cube. Now, instead of going home, I'm going to go back to the position above it, which is position 12, linear. 50%, just because I'm in the proximity of an object. Now, once I get to 12, I can go very rapidly, then go position back to 99. We almost always like to head home, and I can do the joint, and we can go fast on this one. So always return your robot back to the home position. It's a good practice. Now, once we have all of this programmed in here, we want to check and see if it works. And so then we can, and we want to click on these little objects up here. First of all, it's probably a good idea to save it, right? So save it, and I'm just going to put temp on this one because I'm going to probably erase this one. All right, and then so up here you have to do a single line if you're doing troubleshooting, but we want to run one single cycle through the whole program. Now you have to click back at the start of the program so it can go through everything. If you're down at the bottom, it's going to say it's already done, right? So we're going to go down to the bottom here. We're going to do one cycle, and notice it's going to follow through the program. It opened the gripper. It's going to position 11. It's going to go down to position 1, close the gripper. Going to go back to position 11, over to position 12, down to position 2, let go, back to position 12, and then back home. Now, there's another little neat feature you might want to do in order to show me that you've actually programmed things correctly. And so let me turn this phone off here. It keeps beeping on us. You can actually turn on the robot path. These are called little chiclets that are going to show up now. So if I run the program again, I reset the work cell and I'm running it again, you notice it creates these little dots. Well, I didn't reset it all the way, right? Because I forgot to reset the work cell, so you're going to get an error here when it hits, right? But if you actually turn the chiclets on, then you can actually follow the robot path through what it does there. So just remember, before you rerun it, you'll have to reset the work table and then start the animation in that direction. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of indication on how to program in RoboCell. So good luck on that. I may can get you a copy of all these commands so you don't have to keep looking at them like this. But good luck on programming. You're going to be doing about seven or eight of these factory jobs, and they're going to get progressively more complex. So learn this well. Take your time with it. Make sure you get this program to work, and we're going to have fun with RoboCell.